The Cascade Mountains had always been Elliot Morgan's sanctuary, a pristine laboratory where the botanist could lose himself in the whispers of ancient trees and the secrets of rare alpine flora. For 3 years, he had been methodically documenting the resilience of native species following a devastating wildfire, work that had earned him respect in scientific circles, but had also turned him into something of a recluse. Just 2 more samples, and I can head back before dark, Elliot muttered to himself, carefully extracting a specimen of an unusually vibrant lichen. His research station was a modest cabin on the mountain's western slope, remote enough that he often went weak. Within minutes, the gentle rain transformed into a violent downpour, winds whipping through the trees with unexpected fury. Elliot abandoned his collection and started the trek back, but the trail had turned treacherous. As he navigated a steep section, the sodden earth gave way beneath his boot. His world tilted sideways as he tumbled down the embankment, a sharp pain exploding in his leg when it twisted beneath him. "Damn it!" he gasped, rain pelting his face as he tried to assess the damage. Definitely sprained, possibly fractured. Miles from his cabin with no cell service, Elliot realized the gravity of his situation. Hypothermia would become a real threat as temperatures dropped with nightfall. He dragged himself beneath the partial shelter of a fallen cedar, searching his pack for anything useful. Night was falling fast when he first noticed the strange blue glow emanating from deeper in the forest. Elliot blinked, certain his pain-addled mind was playing tricks on him. But the light persisted, pulsing gently, drawing closer. "Hello," he called out, voice nearly lost in the howling wind. "Is someone there?" The glow stopped moving, hovering just beyond the veil of rain and darkness. Elliot squinted, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. There appeared to be a figure, distinctly humanoid but somehow wrong in proportion, watching him from behind a massive pine trunk. "I'm injured," Elliot called again. "Please, I need help." For several heartbeats, nothing happened. Then, with fluid grace, the figure emerged from hiding. Elliot's breath caught in his throat. Standing before him was what appeared to be a woman, but unlike any he had ever seen. Her skin had a faint luminescent quality that seemed to shift between pale blue and silver, especially pronounced along her hairline and the elegant curve of her cheekbones. Her eyes were large, almond-shaped, and entirely black except for pinpricks of iridescent light that seemed to mirror the stars. Her body was willowy, almost fragile in appearance, draped in what looked like a bodysuit made of an unfamiliar material that rippled like liquid metal. "You're not human," Elliot whispered, pain momentarily forgotten in his astonishment. The being tilted her head, studying him with those impossible eyes. When she spoke, her voice had an ethereal quality, as though multiple tones resonated simultaneously. "I am Vela," she said, the words carefully formed. "I have watched you. Many cycles. You harm nothing. Only study." She gestured to his injured leg. "Now you are damaged." Elliot nodded slowly, afraid any sudden movement might cause her to disappear. "Yes, I need to get back to my cabin. There's medical supplies there." Vela approached cautiously, her movements fluid and precise. Up close, Elliot could see faint patterns etched into her skin, geometric designs that pulsed with that same subtle blue light. "I will assist," she said, kneeling beside him. "But you must promise. Tell no others of me." As thunder crashed overhead and rain continued to pour, Elliot found himself face to face with the most extraordinary discovery in human history, a discovery that would change everything. The cabin felt different with her inside it. Vela moved with a quiet grace that seemed almost otherworldly, examining Elliot's humble possessions with undisguised curiosity while he wrapped his injured ankle. "These markings," she said, trailing slender fingers over a botanical textbook. "They contain knowledge?" "Yes, it's a book about plants," Elliot replied, still struggling to process her existence. "How long have you been here?" "On Earth, I mean." Vela's expression shifted, something like sadness passing across her luminous features. 7 of your Earth years. My vessel malfunctioned during atmospheric entry. The crash." She gestured to a long, jagged scar running along her rib cage. "I was damaged. Others in my crew did not survive." "I'm sorry," Elliot said softly. "And you've been alone all this time?" She nodded. "My kind heals slowly here. Your atmosphere, different composition. I could not risk discovery before repairs were complete." "And are they?" "Complete, I mean." "No." Her star-filled eyes met his. "Communication array still non-functional. Cannot contact home." Elliot leaned forward. "I could help you." I have some technical knowledge. And medical training too, for humans at least. That wound looks infected. Vela hesitated, her luminescence dimming slightly. Why would you assist me? Your kind fears difference. Not all of us, Elliot said gently. I'm a scientist. Understanding new things is my life's work. A soft chime emanated from Vela's wrist device. She tensed, backing toward the door. Others approach, she whispered urgently. The sound of a vehicle engine confirmed her warning. Elliot hobbled to the window to see his research partner's Jeep pulling up. It's Marcus. He probably came to check on me because of the storm. Elliot turned back to find Vela already slipping through the rear door. Wait, when can I see you again? She paused, conflict evident in her expression. The Hollow Oak. Eastern Ridge. Tomorrow when sun peaks. Then she was gone, vanishing into the forest shadows seconds before a heavy knock sounded at the front door. Elliot, you in there? Marcus's voice was tinged with concern. Composing himself, Elliot opened the door to his colleague, a stocky, perpetually suspicious former military man who handled the research station security. Jesus, what happened to you? Marcus asked, eyeing Elliot's makeshift ankle wrap. Slipped during the storm. Nothing serious. Marcus's gaze traveled past him, scanning the cabin. Thought I saw movement behind your place. Probably just deer, Elliot replied too quickly. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Maybe. Found something strange near the north quadrant earlier. Unusual metal fragments. Nothing I've ever seen before. Thought we might take samples tomorrow. North quadrant. Elliot kept his voice casual while his heart raced. I was just there. Didn't notice anything. Huh. Marcus didn't look convinced. Well, rest that ankle. I'll check those coordinates myself. After Marcus left, Elliot sank into his chair, mind spinning. The North Quadrant, likely where Vela's ship had crashed. If Marcus found evidence of extraterrestrial technology. That night, Elliot barely slept, his thoughts consumed by Vela. By morning, his decision was made. Ignoring the pain in his ankle, he gathered medical supplies and headed for the Eastern Ridge, both terrified and exhilarated by what awaited him. Vela was there, emerging silently from behind the ancient oak. This time, she'd made no attempt to disguise her alien nature. In daylight, the geometric patterns on her skin were more pronounced, shifting with her movements. You came, she said, sounding surprised. I said I would help you. Elliot set down his pack. And I need to warn you. My colleague might have found pieces of your ship. Fear flashed across her features, but she quickly masked it. Then we have little time. Let me treat your wound first, he insisted. As his fingers gently cleaned the infected area along her ribcage, Elliot was acutely aware of the extraordinary trust she was placing in him. Her skin felt warm beneath his touch, slightly textured like fine silk. Your species, he asked softly. Do you have a name for yourselves? Australia, she replied, watching his hands work with fascination. We are travelers, gatherers of knowledge across galaxies. And Earth? What interest does it hold? Vela's expression softened. Your world is unique, rich in diversity, beautiful. Her eyes met his. Worth protecting. Something unspoken passed between them in that moment, a bridge across unimaginable distance. Weeks passed, marking the beginning of autumn in the mountains. Elliot's ankle healed, but his routine had been irrevocably transformed. Each day now included secret meetings with Vela, who gradually revealed more about her world and mission. The Australia Collective spans 12 star systems, she explained one evening as they sat beside a small fire in the cave she'd made her home. The walls were covered with intricate drawings, star charts, diagrams of Earth's ecosystems, and observations of local wildlife. We seek alliance with compatible species. And humans? Are we compatible? Elliot asked, watching firelight dance across her luminescent skin. Her smile held a hint of sadness. Unknown. My assessment was incomplete when the crash occurred. Elliot passed her the communicator device they'd been working to repair. Parts salvaged from his research equipment combined with components from her damaged technology had yielded promising results. Your understanding of quantum mechanics is impressive for your species, she observed, making a minute adjustment to the circuitry. And your understanding of botany rivals mine, he countered, nodding toward her detailed sketches of local plan adaptations. Their fingers brushed as she returned the device, and neither pulled away. The contact sent a warm current through Elliot's body, intensifying when her eyes, those cosmic pools of darkness and light, lifted to meet his. Elliot, she said his name like it was something precious. In my culture, knowledge is valued above all else. But since meeting you, I've experienced something else. Something I have no scientific category for. His heart thundered against his ribs. We might call it attraction, he offered quietly. Or perhaps something deeper. These words are inadequate, she whispered, leaning closer, her scent like nothing earthly, reminiscent of starlight and distant storms. Their first kiss was hesitant, a gentle exploration of unfamiliar territory. Then deeper, more urgent, as though trying to bridge the vast interstellar gulfs between their origins. Her skin glowed brighter where he touched her, leaving trails of luminescence that slowly faded. Later, lying beneath a blanket of stars visible through the cave's opening, Vela traced the contours of his face with wonder. Among my people, to join with another is to share consciousness, she murmured. I never imagined finding such connection with a being so different. Different? Elliot agreed, drawing her closer. Yet somehow the same in all the ways that matter. Their bodies entwined, human and alien anatomies discovering surprising harmonies in the dim blue light cast by her luminescent skin. Each touch revealed new sensitivities, each caress a discovery more profound than any scientific breakthrough. Morning found them still together, the rising sun casting long shadows into the cave. As Elliot prepared to return to the research station to avoid raising suspicion, Vela suddenly stiffened, her attention fixed on her wrist device. What is it? He asked, immediately concerned. A signal, she whispered, wonder and apprehension mingling in her voice. Faint, but unmistakable. An Australia beacon searching. Elliot felt a cold knot form in his stomach. Your people are coming for you. Yes. Her star-filled eyes met his, conflicted. They will arrive within 2 lunar cycles. That's wonderful news, he said, forcing enthusiasm he didn't feel. You can go home. Vela's luminescence dimmed slightly. Yes. Home. She touched his face gently. But now I find myself uncertain about where home truly is. The question hung between them, unanswered, as Elliot made his way back to the research station, his mind a turbulent sea of emotions. He was so distracted that he nearly collided with Marcus at the cabin door. Where have you been? Marcus demanded, suspicion evident in his narrowed eyes. Early morning sample collection, Elliot lied, gesturing vaguely to his empty pack. Really? Because I checked the log. No new specimens entered since yesterday. Marcus stepped closer. What's going on with you, Elliot? You've been acting strange for weeks. Just focused on my work, Elliot replied, moving past him into the cabin. Work. Marcus followed him inside. Or something in the North Quadrant. Because I went back there. Found more fragments. And footprints that definitely weren't human. Elliot's blood ran cold. What are you saying? I'm saying there's something out there, Marcus said grimly. And you know what it is. The helicopter's rhythmic thrum cut through the mountain silence, a mechanical intrusion in the pristine wilderness. From his hiding place among the dense pines, Elliot watched as men in tactical gear disembarked onto the small clearing near the research station. Their unmarked uniforms and efficient movements spoke of military training. 3 days had passed since his confrontation with Marcus. 3 days of mounting tension as Elliot had tried desperately to maintain the facade of normalcy while warning Vela of the danger. Now his worst fears were materializing before his eyes. His satellite phone vibrated. Marcus, they're here. His colleague's voice crackled through the speaker. The government team wants to debrief you. What have you done? Elliot hissed, anger and betrayal burning in his chest. My job, Marcus replied coolly. Protecting national security. These are extraterrestrial materials, Elliot. Did you really think you could keep something like this secret? You have no idea what you're dealing with. Neither do you. Report to base camp immediately, or they'll consider you compromised. The line went dead. Elliot shoved the phone into his pocket and moved deeper into the forest toward the emergency rendezvous point he and Vela had established. His heart pounded with each step, eyes scanning continuously for surveillance drones he knew would soon be deployed. She was waiting, a shadow beneath ancient cedars, her luminescence dimmed to near invisibility. They're here, he gasped, taking her hands. Military. Special operations by the look of them. How many? Her voice was steady, but he could see fear in her star-filled eyes. At least 15. With equipment. They'll have the technology to detect anomalous energy signatures. Like mine. She nodded grimly. The beacon signal is stronger now. My people approach. We must reach the transmission coordinates before they arrive. That's 2 days' journey through difficult terrain, Elliot warned. And we'll be tracked every step. Vela's expression hardened with determination. Then we move now, while darkness provides cover. As night fell, they began their desperate flight through the mountain wilderness. Elliot's knowledge of the landscape guided them through hidden valleys and across rarely used game trails. By dawn, they had put considerable distance between themselves and the search parties, but Elliot knew it wouldn't be enough. They took shelter in a narrow ravine as daylight made travel too risky. Exhausted, Vela leaned against him, her normally radiant skin dulled by fatigue. "I'm sorry," Elliot whispered, holding her close. "I never should have involved Marcus. You couldn't have known." Her fingers traced the line of his jaw. "When my people arrive, they could take you with us. Away from here." The offer stunned him. "Leave Earth? I've seen inside you, Elliot. Your thirst for knowledge. Imagine what you could learn among the stars." The prospect was dizzying, entire galaxies to explore, civilizations beyond human comprehension. Yet something held him back. "My life is here," he said softly. "My work, my home. Am I not also your home now?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Before he could answer, the distant sound of rotors echoed through the ravine. Vela tensed, her senses more acute than his. 3 aircraft. Approaching fast. They moved again, abandoning rest for survival. By mid-afternoon, they had reached the edge of a vast alpine meadow that would provide dangerous exposure but was the most direct route to the transmission coordinates. "We can't cross until nightfall," Elliot declared, studying the open ground. They waited in tense silence until dusk began to fall. As they prepared to make their crossing, the unmistakable red of a laser sight appeared on Vela's chest. "Don't move," ordered a voice from the tree line. Armed figures emerged from cover, weapons trained on them both. Marcus stepped forward, his expression a mixture of triumph and regret. "It's over, Elliot. This isn't a military operation at all, is it?" Elliot realized suddenly. "Private contractor. Corporate interests. What are they paying you, Marcus?" "Enough to retire very comfortably," his former colleague admitted. "Nothing personal. The technology she represents is worth billions. She's a sentient being, not technology." "She's evidence," Marcus corrected, gesturing to his team. "Secure them both." As the armed men approached, Vela's body suddenly flared with blinding luminescence. The unexpected burst of light momentarily disoriented their captors, enough for Elliot to grab her hand and run. Gunfire erupted behind them as they fled across the meadow, bullets tearing into the earth at their heels. Halfway across the open ground, Vela stumbled, a pained gasp escaping her lips. "You're hit," Elliot cried, seeing the silvery fluid seeping from her shoulder. "Keep moving," she urged through gritted teeth. "We must reach the ridge before dawn." The abandoned mining tunnel offered temporary sanctuary as Elliot worked frantically to stop the bleeding from Vela's wound. Her silvery blood had an almost mercury-like quality, glimmering in the beam of his flashlight. "The bullet passed through," he reported, carefully cleaning the injury. "But you've lost a lot of, whatever this is." "Ichor," she supplied weakly. "Our life essence." Beyond the tunnel entrance, dawn was breaking over the mountains. They had managed to lose their pursuers during the night, but Elliot harbored no illusions about their safety. Marcus and his team would regroup, deploy drones, establish a search perimeter. Vela's wrist device chimed softly. "The signal, growing stronger," she whispered. "My people, they've entered your solar system. How much time do we have?" "Hours only." Her star-filled eyes sought his. "The transmission point is still 10 kilometers north." Elliot knew she couldn't travel that distance in her condition, but staying meant certain capture. "I have an idea," he said suddenly. "It's risky, but it might work." 2 hours later, they arrived at the research station's secondary equipment depot, a small outbuilding containing vehicles and supplies rarely used except during winter months. As Elliot had hoped, it remained unguarded, the search teams focused elsewhere. "Can you walk?" he asked, supporting Vela as they approached the building. She nodded determinedly, though her luminescence had dimmed to barely a glow. Inside, Elliot quickly located what he sought, the keys to the all-terrain vehicle stored for emergencies. "This will get us through the northern valley," he explained, helping her onto the passenger seat. "From there, it's a short climb to the transmission coordinates." They had covered half the distance when the sound of pursuit reached them, the unmistakable thrum of helicopter rotors closing in. "They found us," Elliot said grimly, pushing the vehicle to its limits across the rugged terrain. As they rounded a bend in the valley, their path forward was suddenly blocked by an armored vehicle. Armed personnel poured out, taking positions behind cover. "No way through," Elliot muttered, scanning desperately for alternatives. To their left rose a near-vertical rock face. To the right, a rushing river that no vehicle could cross. They were trapped. Marcus's voice boomed through a loudspeaker. "Last chance, Elliot. Surrender the alien, and you might walk away from this." Vela touched his arm gently. "Let me go," she whispered. "Save yourself." "Never," he replied fiercely. "We find a way together or not at all." The standoff was interrupted by a deafening rumble from above. Looking skyward, Elliot's jaw dropped in astonishment. The clouds were parting as though torn by an invisible force, revealing a massive shape descending through the atmosphere. A vessel of impossible proportions and design, its surface rippling with the same geometric patterns that adorned Vela's skin. "The Estreli," she breathed, her face illuminated with wonder. "They found us." Marcus and his team had frozen in shock, weapons lowered as they stared at the impossible sight above them. In that moment of distraction, a new figure appeared beside their vehicle. A woman in a lab coat whom Elliot recognized as Dr. Naomi Chun, the research station's meteorologist. "This way," she urged, motioning toward a narrow trail barely visible among the rocks. "Quickly, Naomi." Elliot stared in confusion. "How?" "I've known about your friend for months," she admitted, helping support Vela. "Tracked her energy signature during atmospheric disturbances. But unlike some people, I understand the importance of first contact being peaceful." Together they ascended the hidden path as chaos erupted below, Marcus's team scrambling to regroup as military aircraft converged on the scene, too late to capture the unprecedented event unfolding. At the summit, they stood beneath the massive Estreli vessel, now hovering silently above the mountain peak. A column of shimmering light extended downward, touching the earth mere meters from where they stood. Three figures materialized within the light, being similar to Vela, their luminescent skin patterned with more elaborate geometric designs, signifying greater age or status. "My kin," Vela said softly, stepping forward to greet them in a language of musical tones and light patterns emitted from her skin. Elliot watched the reunion with mixed emotions, joy for her safety, grief for what her departure would mean. When she turned back to him, her expression mirrored his conflict. "They offer you sanctuary," she said. "Protection from your own kind who would punish you for aiding me." Below them, military helicopters were landing. Time was running out. "What about you?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. "I am to report my findings on humanity," she replied. "My experiences will shape the collective's approach to your world." "And what will you tell them?" Her luminescence brightened as she stepped closer. "That despite fear and ignorance in many, there exists profound capacity for compassion, curiosity, and love." Her hand reached for his. "That I found such qualities in abundance in one human, at least." Dr. Chin cleared her throat. "They're coming up the path. Whatever you're deciding, decide quickly." Elliot looked from the advancing forces to the shimmering light of the Estreli ship, then to Vela's hopeful eyes. "I once told you my life was here," he said softly. "But home isn't a place. It's where we find understanding." He took her hand, its gentle glow intensifying at his touch. "Besides," he added with a smile, "what kind of scientist would I be to pass up the opportunity to study entirely new worlds?" Together they stepped into the column of light, leaving behind the boundaries of Earth and its limitations. As they ascended toward the vessel, Vela's luminescence enveloped them both, two beings from distant worlds who had found in each other the rarest discovery of all, a love that transcended the stars themselves. Far below, Dr. Chin watched them vanish into the magnificent ship, a small smile playing on her lips as she turned to face the approaching soldiers. The vessel rose silently, defying Earth's gravity with casual ease, and disappeared into the clouds, leaving humanity to wonder what other wonders awaited among the stars, and whether they would be ready when the Estreli returned.